Hi, good morning. Today I wanted to just take a moment to do maybe a Q&A or some facts or general discussion about the practice that we've just added, the pranayama technique called yogic breathing. And so I thought maybe we'd start with me sharing kind of my experience with it so far. So just a reminder, we are working with the Kriya book, a systematic course in the ancient tantric techniques of yoga and Kriya by Swami Satyananda Saraswati. And we're referring to, again, the first lesson, lesson one, the first program, and the pranayama technique, yogic breathing. So as a reminder, yogic breathing is when you take full advantage of the full abdominal cavity in the lung space and things like that. So you would first breathe into the abdomen and then continuing the inhalation into the middle area around the rib cage, and then continuing the inhalation up into the upper breathing, into the upper lobes of your lungs. And then once you've taken that full inhale, inhaling all the way into all three cavities, you hold the breath for 1 or 2 counts, and then you release from the top down, and at the very bottom of the exhalation, you hold the breath for 1 or 2 counts. And then let me think. Yeah, and then you continue and you add counting, inhale 1, exhale 1, going to, I think 5 was the first lesson. And then the directions were to add 2 breaths every day. Okay, so here's what happened to me. So whenever I lie down with Isabella to put her to sleep, I usually lie with her, pat her on the back, stuff like that, breastfeed, whatever. And sometimes I read on my phone, or I listen to an audiobook, or I meditate, or I do pranayama, and it just depends on what's happening with me. So just a little while ago, I tried to practice this yogic breathing pranayama while I was lying there with her. And a few things happened. First of all, I could not keep my mind trained on the numbers. I swear my mind just wandered off after the count of 1. And my phone is buzzing at me. And then also, I was breathing too quickly. I noticed that I was also forcing the inhalation into my body instead of just inviting it. Recall that the direction said to inhale as quietly and as slowly as possible. And I was like really sucking in the inhale and like pressing the exhale out. And Danny, you are texting me, girl. We'll talk in a second. And what was it? Oh yeah, so all of this stuff was happening. It was successful. There were a few, I think maybe on count 4, 5, and 6, I was actually able to stay present. And then my mind started wandering off and thinking about this recording and what I might share about this experience and how I'm enjoying this so much because it's keeping me kind of accountable for my own practice. And yeah, so that's happening. Anyways, so I'd love to know what your experiences were. If this happens to you, a reminder is to be kind to yourself, to maybe even smile and just let the thoughts float by and come back to the sensations of the breath. And that helped me as long as when I noticed that my mind was wandering, I would come back to the sensations of the breath. And that's when I would notice I'm either breathing too hard or breathing too fast, and I would try to slow it down. And of course, my mind would wander again, and I'd bring it back, and just, eventually we get there. And I think there isn't really a destination that we're trying to get to, 10 breaths, 11 breaths. That's not the way it is. That's not the point. The point is to master it by getting to that number with eventually not wandering off, or like finding a moment of time where you're not wandering off, and to really discipline yourself enough to practice this often throughout your day. And then once you do that, we move on. And because I have apparently not mastered this, actually, I'm finding that my mind is wandering quite a bit. I can't get to 10 breaths. I'm not going to move on into lesson 2 until I have. So until then, I'm probably going to be posting things more mindful breathing related, or even about this. Okay, I hope to hear from you, and I hope you have a lovely day and happy practicing.